Hello fellow humans and welcome to the Chieftain MK6. It is in the shop right now for 20,000 gold with the big bundle and 17,500 for the tank alone. So that is a pretty good deal considering where other tier 10s have been sold at, and those are far worse. So let's have a look at this tank, which is possibly and maybe even the best tier 10 in the game. Let's have a look at the Chieftain here and let's compare it to the others. And why did I say that the Chieftain is the best tier 10 in the game? Because to be the best, you want to ideally have a combination of being good at everything. And the Chieftain does have that. Now you have 3000 DPM. You have 400 alpha damage, which is very standard. You have great aim time and also good mobility. It's right in the middle between a lot of these. Obviously the 113 has more DPM and is also faster. I think the 113 is also a great sleeper tank that a lot of people don't notice because they just play the i7, but I mean it has 1000 DPM more, for example, on the i7. So if you're a decent player, just get the 113. The i7's not worth it at that point. Now you also have the Concept 1B, horrible DPM on this vehicle, and also the aim time and stuff like that isn't great. Another thing to be considered about the Concept 1B, at the sides of the turret are completely unarmored, so the second you turn the turret by a millimeter, you're completely exposed, so not great. Now obviously, another thing, the Super Conqueror is also a very, very strong vehicle. And I can also sort of recommend that one. Obviously, only buy a tier 10 if you want to play it for fun and stuff like that, because tier 10s aren't good for making crits. Simple as that. You know, 140% crit coefficient. A tier 8 has somewhere around 170, 180. So they're not good for that. Now, what you can see here, you can ignore this one. It's just, yeah, people paid hundreds of euros for this. They're going to try hard. You do have very solid armor. The hull armor might seem very weak, but let's have a look at that. Now we have the Chieftain. It does have a cupola on top, which is very weak, which is not great. However, obviously the tank does have solid mobility, so if you keep it wiggling back and forth, then you can keep that hidden. And the front of the turret is very hard to pen, especially if you do keep moving back and forth, and if you use 10 degrees of gun depression, then you can somewhat also hide the cupola. He still is exposed a bit, so just keep the tank moving, keep it wiggling, but you can. And the upper plate is also relatively strong. It's only 127mm thick, but in terms of the effective armor, it is very strong. And obviously the lower plate is a weak spot on pretty much any tank. And obviously the sides here, obviously this extends a lot further down here, so you do have some protection along the side of the turret as well, which isn't the case for the Concept 1B. And the side isn't very well armored, but to get a bit of side scraping going, it is somewhat enough if you do hold a very, very strong angle. But otherwise, you're probably just going to get pens straight through. So that's not great. This is definitely a thinking man's tank. It doesn't play itself. So here we go into a battle with the Chieftain. And obviously, what you want to do is you want to use the strength of this vehicle to your advantage. Now, the thing is, with this tank, it's not great at anything, but it's good at everything, pretty much, which does make this tank amazing. Now, you do still have to know how to use it. Obviously, it's not a IS-7 where you just sit in and then you do something with it. You do still need a bit of skill to actually make this tank work. Obviously, it is not a super heavy where you just sit in and then you take damage and then you die. It's not like that. You still have to know how to play this thing. And there's an AMX-30B, which is a very unfortunate soul right there. Okay, 60 TP. Obviously, I've already taken this position here relatively forward. And that's what you can do with a tank like this, because you do have the mobility for it. You also have the gun depression and the gun to also defend and hold it. Whereas a MX-30B, who's trying to push you, does not. You also do have Hesh on this vehicle, which, if you are up against a lightly armored vehicle, you can cause a lot of damage there. You bump up your alpha damage from 400 to 500. So, basically, this thing doesn't really have downsides. It's more like minor inconveniences like the cupola and the relative lack of premium penetration. But then again, it does have more than, let's say, an IS-7. So, there is that. Alright, there we go. Now, the sides are pretty weak, which is not great, obviously. But, you know, if you try to bounce shots with your side, you're a bit weird. Unless you're like a side-scraping heavy, which this isn't. This is a main battle tank. And only a main battle tank. So, which makes it that well-rounded. Because it's not a classic heavy tank, it's more of a main battle tank that can do a bit of everything. But, yeah. Oh, why you... Another thing is, with this vehicle, is you do get... What I noticed is, especially today, you do get focused a bit more. And another thing is, if you do add the pink camo to your Chieftain, then you do get a 10% RNG buff. So get the pink camo if you haven't already. It's the only premium camo that is worth buying. Obviously, every other premium camo is simply a waste of money. And the pink camo is better than a legendary camo. So let's just keep going on the E100. Obviously, he's not looking at me, so should be relatively easily to be taken out. And there is some 260 TPs down there. I have no idea where the grill is, but given it's a grill, he's probably up there. Hold on. Hello. Now, obviously, they're below me, which means I have to shoot up. Which means there's the grill, by the way. So, yeah. I'm not surprised. And now we can just simply use the gun depression and also the third armor to be relatively safe against these two 60 TPs. Obviously, I poke up with my lower plate, which is a weak spot on any tank. It's bigger on some, smaller on others, but it's definitely a weak spot on most tanks. Unlike a 6 TP, a low plate's very small. With Chieftain, it's a bit bigger, but that's where you got to keep it wiggling, keep it moving. And as you can see here, over 4,000 damage already. Can you not? Alright, come here. Nope, I don't have enough gun depression. Just not quite, but there we go. Gotta get the right angle done. And here we go, and now he's dead. And that's 5,000 damage already, just like that. And that is where the power of this vehicle comes from. It's just good at everything. You can fight any tank with it, and you're all gonna do well. If you're in a mouse and you fight a T100 LT, congratulations, you just lost 3,000 hit points. So, this thing draws its strength from being able to fight every tank and pretty much in every position. And obviously, if you're fighting 5 tanks at once, then that's not going to work. And, good, he didn't ammo rack me, that's nice. But I'm going for damage here, so I don't really care. He's going to reload in about 4... Nope, he's not going to reload. Anyway, that's it. And that is over 5,000 damage, just like that in the Chieftain MK6. And that is why this thing is insanely good. If you know what you're doing, this is definitely one of the best tier 10s in the game. But you do have to know what you are doing. Otherwise, you are going to get absolutely hopelessly wrecked. And look at that, 5,000 damage is not even an ace. Now let's get into the second one, and obviously what you want to do on this map is, first of all, not go into the city, unlike these two are doing, or more of these are doing. What you want to do is, if you actually want to try to win, you want to take the middle ridge, and then also hope that you have a decent team, which unfortunately is not the case here in 2 of them, or 3 of them rather. And then you take the middle ridge, and then you ideally win. Now, the mediums will actually also take that field over there, and that's not good. That is very not good. And that is, yeah, okay, one of them is bad as well. That's good. The M103 is a bad player. We can immediately, that is immediately obvious that the M103 on the enemy team is a bad player because he doesn't understand how to play his vehicle. You know, he's having a hull-down tank put into a city. So, essentially, what we have to do here, abandon that, and then try to at least push the guys out in the city, and, oh, there's more. And the Chieftain is also a bad player, wonderful. That is good. Now, what we're going to have to do here is going to just go around them, hope there's no one up there, and then go around them and attack them from the back, because that way we can definitely make up for the failings of the VK, the WT, and also the AMX, which is camping for some reason. And there's the Hesh right there, 535, into the back of a very heavy tank. So, keep that going. There are some more, and now we can do the same thing to the M103 and the Chieftain. I'm going to use the Hesh there. 644 damage at the macro for the Hesh. You definitely want to use that, and yeah, see, that's what happens when you go city. You either die or you die. And yeah, don't do that. On this map, you gotta take the ridge control in the middle. Otherwise, you do have a hard time, unless the enemy team is worse than yours. So, LG 140 shouldn't be much of a problem unless I can actually find him. And the E75 and the LG 140 shouldn't be much of a problem. Now, they do have a T100 LT somewhere, but that thing's not OP. It's just you can't aim. That's the only thing that there is there. Now it's obviously keeping tracked, ideally, so we can get a bit more resistance damage. Come here. Come to Papa. And dead. Beautiful. Now we can maybe do some damage on the E50M as well over there. And no VK, not GG. You went to the wrong side. We had to save you. Okay. T100. Nope, that's not it. And now he's... I don't know what he's doing in the city, actually. I have no idea, but... Yeah, ideally what he should do is just go out to the island over there and just get some more shots, but he's not. Congrats, mate. What is this game? It's just everyone's bad. But then again, that's just Blitz, so that's normal. And there we go. Somehow that's a win. 3,200 damage. Not too bad. That's the Chieftain. Even if you have a bad team, it does, well, half a bad team, it does work beautifully, as you can see. So, if you can afford it, if you do want it, then I can definitely recommend it. 1337. Nice. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well.